Hello students. In this lecture we go further in derivatives in economics. So we do exercise 4.4, the remaining part of the exercise. The 10th sum, if the demand function is d is equal to 50 minus 3p minus p square, find the elasticity of demand at certain values of price which they have given. Also, we have to comment on the result. So here, from the demand function, what we do is we find the derivative of demand with respect to price. That is, we find dd by dp. Now dd by dp for this function turns out to be minus 3 minus 2p. Then the formula for elasticity we had seen in the previous lecture, which is minus p upon d into dd by dp. So we apply all the values of this formula, that is we apply the demand function minus p upon the demand function into dd by dp becomes the answer which we just now got, that is minus 3 minus 2p. Now from the bracket we take the minus sign common. So the bracket becomes 3 plus 2p and minus into minus in the numerator becomes positive. So we get this as p into 3 plus 2p upon 50 minus 3p minus p square. Now when p is equal to 5, the first case they have told us to find out the elasticity when p is equal to 5. So eta becomes 5 into, that is in place of p everywhere we put 5 in the given value for eta. And thus we get the value of elasticity as 6.5. Now we have to comment on this particular value. If you remember in the last lecture, we had seen certain cases where elasticity can be either 0, 1, greater than 1, etc. It will never be negative, remember that. So as a result, in this case we find that elasticity is greater than 1. So we say that as eta greater than 1, the demand is relatively elastic. Next sum, that is p is equal to 2, you can just substitute in this and do it as an assignment and find the answer. Question 11. For the demand function d is equal to 100 minus p square by 2, find the elasticity at p is equal to 10 and p is equal to 6 and comment on the results. It is a similar sum to the previous one. However, I'll help you with the first case here. So as usual, the demand function, we find the derivative of demand with respect to price, which ultimately comes out to be minus p. You can observe how it is done over here. Then we put the formula for elasticity, substitute the values over here and thus simplify it this way. As you can see in the denominator, cross multiplication has been done. So finally, elasticity is given by 2p square upon 200 minus p square. Now, in the first case, when p is 10, eta becomes 2 into 10 square upon 200 minus 10 square. Thus, we get this value, and so the elasticity or eta becomes 2. Again, the conclusion is same as the previous sum. The second case, you can do it as an assignment. The 12th sum. Now consider this as an important sum. It has come before also in the board exam. The question is, a manufacturing company produces X items at a total cost of 40 plus 2x. Their price is given as P is equal to 120 minus X. Remember, price means price of one commodity. Find the value of X for which revenue is increasing, profit is increasing, and also find the elasticity of demand for price 80. So this will come as a 4-mark question if it comes in the board exam. So here total cost is given to us, that is C is equal to 40 plus 2x. Then the revenue R is equal to P into X. Remember, revenue means total selling price. I have told it to you before also. So P into X, which is 120 minus X, the function for P, into the one item, that is X. Thus we get R is equal to 120x minus x square. Now in the first case, we want to find the value of x for which revenue is increasing. So we take the revenue function, that is 120 minus x square, and find its derivative with respect to x. So we find dr by dx, which comes out as which comes out as 120 minus 2x. Now r increases when dr by dx is positive. Isn't it? In increasing and decreasing functions, we have studied this. And therefore, 120 minus 2x is positive, or 120 is greater than 2x, or in other words, 60 greater than x. You know how to write it down, isn't it? We finally write it down as x less than 60. So we conclude that revenue increases when x is less than 60. The number of items is less than 60. Second case, profit. We have to find out when the profit is increasing. Now profit is given by pi. The symbol for profit is pi over here. As you know, P means price. So to differentiate, we put profit as pi. So pi is equal to R minus C. Revenue minus cost price, total cost price, which comes out as this way. And thus simplifying, opening the bracket, changing the sign, etc., we get this value. Thus we get the function for profit. Now to find out when the profit is increasing, we differentiate the profit function with respect to x. Thus we get 118 minus 2x. See that profit increases when d pi by dx is positive. That means this function is greater than 0, or 59 is greater than x, or x less than 59. Thus we conclude our answer and move on to the third case. In the third case, we have to find out elasticity of demand. Now look carefully. They have given us the price function, that is P is equal to 120 minus x. From this, we get the demand function this way. That is x is equal to 120 minus P. This is our demand function. Now we find the derivative of demand with respect to price by doing dx by dp, which comes out as minus 1. 120 minus P becomes 0 minus 1, which is minus 1. And thus we put this in the formula for elasticity of demand. So eta is actually here minus P upon x into dx by dp. Remember, demand we have taken in terms of x over here. And thus by substituting the values, we get this particular step, and then it becomes this way. Okay, P upon 120 minus P. Now, when P is 80, we substitute the value of P in this particular function, and thus we get the elasticity as 2. We come to an important property now, which relates maths and economics. That is the marginal propensity to consume. Now it is defined as the proportion of an aggregate raise in pay that a consumer spends on the consumption of goods and services as opposed to saving it. It gives us an idea of how much is the consumer spending as compared to saving. Now, for any person with income X, his consumption expenditure, suppose it is EX, this is the amount that he is spending, that is his consumption. Then it depends upon X. It depends upon his income. So we say that EC is a function of FX. That is, expenditure is a function of income. Now we come to the formula marginal propensity to consume, which is given as MPC, which is DEC by DX. That is the derivative of the expenditure of a person with respect to its income gives us the marginal propensity to consume. We also calculate average propensity to consume, which is APC is equal to EC by X. That is, here we divide the expenditure of a person by his income to get this value, that is APC. Then we also have something called marginal propensity to save. So if S is the saving of a person with income X, then we say that MPS, that is the marginal propensity to save, is equal to DS by DX. That is, it is a derivative of the saving of the person with respect to his income X. Thus, from this, we can also calculate the average propensity to save, which is nothing but S upon X. Similar to APC, APS is S upon X. The savings divided by the income give us APX. So we have two formulae here. One is APS and the other one is MPS. Two related formulae. Now, the income of a person is the sum of his expenditure and saving. So we say that X is equal to EC plus S. Now differentiating both the sides with respect to x. We have on the LHS x becomes 1. dx by dx is 1 is equal to dEC by dx plus ds by dx. Now we know from here that dEC by dx is nothing but MPC, marginal propensity to consume, and ds by dx is nothing but MPS, the marginal propensity to save. Thus we have this very important formula, that is MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. Also, as x is equal to EC plus S, we can say that I is equal to, that is 1 is equal to EC upon x plus S upon x. That means when we divide each term by x, we get 1 on the LHS. So 1 is equal to EC upon x plus S upon x. Now EC upon x is nothing but APC and S upon x is nothing but APS. So we say that 1 is equal to APC plus APS. So thus we have defined 4 formulae which we are going to use in the sums to follow. That is MPC, MPS, APC, and this brings us to the 13th sum. The question is find MPC, MPS, APC and APS. If the expenditure EC of a person with income I is given as EC is equal to 0.0003 I square plus 0.075 I when income is 1000. So this is the function given to us. We are supposed to differentiate it and see what we are getting from this. So EC is given as this particular function. We find the derivative of EC with respect to I. So we find dEC by dI, which is nothing but MPC. So thus it comes out as 2I into 0.0003 plus in the second term the I becomes 1. So it becomes 0.075. Now simplifying that further, when we multiply 2 with this bracket, we are going to get 0.0006 I. Okay, it is not 1. Don't think that it is 1 which is written here. It is because the handwriting there. Because the text there. Okay, it is I, not 1. So it is 0.0006 I plus 0.00, that is 0.075. Now in this we just put I as 1000. So when the income is 1000 rupees, MPC becomes, see the first term is multiplied by 1000 here. Thus we get this term, that is 0.6 plus 0.075. So MPC becomes 0.675. We also have MPC plus MPS is equal to 1. And therefore we can calculate MPS as 1 minus MPC, which becomes 1 minus 0.675, which is this value. So we have got MPC and MPS in this particular sum. Then going further, APC, the average propensity to consume, APC. APC is EC upon I, expenditure upon income, which comes out like this. Thus we get this particular function for APC, which is 0.0003 I plus 0.075. Thus when I is 1000, we get the value of APC like this by multiplying 1000 wherever I is present. And so APC comes out as 0.375. Then we also find APS by using this particular formula. So APS is 1 minus APC, and so it becomes 0.625. So thus we get all the 4 values. Now this sum can be done in a similar manner to the sum which we did just now. So this I am leaving it to you as an assignment. Practice it properly in your notebook. Now from miscellaneous exercise 4, question 1. Choose the correct alternative. These 2 questions were remaining, which are based on elasticity of demand. You can see it for yourself. This I leave it to you as an assignment for solving. With this we complete the entire concept of using derivatives in economics. We also complete the entire lesson. In the next lecture, we will be going on to the next lesson, that is integration. By the time we begin the next lecture, I do hope that you have covered this lesson and have made all these concepts properly, got all these concepts properly in the mind. So keep practicing, keep safe and healthy. We meet in the next lecture. Also, do subscribe and like the channel.